Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And ladies and gentlemen, may the force be with you. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay,
Was
that
that by
was
you?
it was it felt like it was right next door to us. I don't know what that was. That was significant. What wow. What a way what an effect. I'm going to have to go back and listen to that. The animals are up. They're like, what was that? That was a blast. Hey, it is what it is. We'll see. If my family comes out to let me know something happened, we'll see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tiny disturbance. I think we were revisiting Gorman, and I had it on overdrive. The volume was up a little too high, and maybe I should not be as, as that way. But it is May 18th, ladies and gentlemen, and the individuals are starting to celebrate July 4th rather early. So I'm figuring that's what it is. But that was a massive blast.
Yes, it
There
was.
are several items in my office that are, I can tell, that are moving just ever so slightly. So I think someone just is firing off fireworks. That's all. But it was very close. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're here the finale for Star Wars Andor. If anyone is in the chat room, please let us know. And if you have any comments, please go ahead and join us. We're going to be talking it through. We may have some other hosts joining us. If you're interested in joining us, just drop a little note, see what happens. But this is it, Michael. It's finally come to pass. Star Wars Andor has, and there it is. I'm glad that Tyler did not hear that massive bang right after my intro.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was very loud. It was the minute I said hi, good afternoon, and good evening, and boom, something blew up around here. But anyway, Tyler, how you doing, young man?
Doing good, man. Let me get hooked up to my microphone real quick. Sorry, I'm a bit late. I was using the link from last week. Oops.
Oops. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll be able to fix that moving forward. But I
So
was stammering my way through. Tyler, it was loud. The
yeah,
it trembled a bit. So but as I mentioned, Fourth of July is around the corner. People are being dumb. You know how that is.
it happens.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. That's how it happens. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I was beginning, this is it. Here we go again, Michael.
Yes, try again. See, boom.
Yes. And I mentioned to Michael just a moment before we went live. I said this for me was a Star Wars day because I saw. Oh, I didn't tell Michael this, but I saw episode 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then Rogue One all day.
Oh
So
my
yeah, it was a Star Wars day for me. I know it's difficult for you, Tyler, having a family and all. My
God.
family today was the growing rebellion, but it was all good. I think I'm still on Eastern time. That's why I was able to watch it all.
Uh,
And the funny thing is, Michael, I saw episodes 10, 11, and 12 twice today. So wow, that was quite a bit. So I guess I still am on Eastern time zone. But folks, it is it. And I looked on the calendar, Michael, Tyler, we don't have anything on calendar for a while.
yeah.
So it's going to give us a chance. Maybe we'll come back and do some specials. Who knows? But this may be it for 2025 already. Wow, that's crazy. So we'll see. But there's a lot of stuff on calendar in 2026. Who knows? There are rumors of a cartoon series that's going to debut later this year. And there are a few other things that they're working on. But I'm just, this may be our last Star Wars broadcast for a little while. That's all. We'll see.
Just sad.
Yeah, but
Oh,
who knows? Maybe we'll come back and review the movies in between. I don't know. So,
yeah.
3 episodes. Make It Stop. Who Else Knows? And Jeddah, Kyber, and Urso. Those are the 3 we're going to go over today. All of them were directed by Alonso Ruiz Palacios, That's the first time I've ever seen that last name. So what it is kind of like the former mayor of Los Angeles. It was his wife's name was VR or Villa, and his name was Raigosa, and they combined them, Villa Raigosa. That's what it looks. He did this. Ruiz Palacios, kind of cool. Written by Tom Bissell. Of course, it was created by Tony Gilroy, based on George Lucas' Star Wars. So, Michael, I'm going to you first. What do you want to do? You want to talk about the episode, the entire arc altogether? What do you want to do? Let me have your thoughts. Let's get going.
I don't care. I really don't care. It was very enjoyable, and I will say, when I got to the end of Andor, I really felt like looking at Rogue One again, but I didn't have time. When I saw it the first time a couple of days ago, I didn't have time to look at Rogue One. Then when I rewatched it today, it was like, I'm still feeling like I need to see Rogue One again. But you did it. I didn't, but I enjoyed it. I'm sorry it's over, but it makes me wonder if they may spin off some other characters. Because certain people I don't think ended up dying that we thought might. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. So
interesting. Yeah, what was refreshing, and sorry, Tyler, I meant to go to you, but I want to follow up with Michael's thought. Not everyone died, which was kind of refreshing. It's not as depressing as Rogue One. Well, actually, Rogue One was not depressing. But I think you guys know what I mean by that. Not died. It was refreshing. Tyler, go for it, and I'll follow with my thoughts as well.
Yeah, I mean, I echo a lot of what Michael said. That it was good. You know, I was surprised at how things went. I definitely feel like there were some missed opportunities. Like I've mentioned the last couple of weeks, I was hoping to see some more of the legacy characters get added in to these last 3 episodes, and we didn't see that. But you know, I think it was good. I agree that they left room to potentially do a spinoff, but I really hope they don't. To be honest, I hope they kind of just they move on from this. Like I think the story that they need the pieces of the Star Wars story that have needed to be connected have now been connected at least enough, and where it's like, all right, let's start doing something different in this universe as opposed to just kind of going back and trying to fill in gaps of what the Skywalker saga is all about. I think it's at least in this side of it, you know, I'd be more interested in seeing like an Empire side of the story, which would be kind of cool. But I don't know. I'm kind of ready to like start something new. Get me in love with something else. But it was still really, really good.
I echo Michael. I echo Tyler. And I have to tell you that I am satisfied with the series. Tyler, you hit it on the nose. There's a lot that could have been done, and they may have missed it there, but there was enough here that it was well done. And it did not, well, okay, there are some issues, especially when it moves directly from the final episode immediately over to to the movie, but that's all right. It's okay. There was an actor that told me years ago on projects like this, sometimes you need to look at it as it's a different storyteller who was there. So it's not always going to match 100%. And when he told me that, I was like, you know what? I can see that, because there are some contradictions with the Andor series and Rogue One itself, but very minor. I'm not going to quibble about them. I want to get into it. I have to tell you, make it stop. Ladies and gentlemen, on any level, this was a tour de force episode. Clea, oh my word. we learn everything about. Well, we learn quite a bit about her and the relationship that she has with Luthen. And Luthen, yeah, you don't always go out in a blaze of glory. You don't always go out in a moment of heroism, but you go out and people don't know. You just died. You don't know how. They just know that the person's dead. And the the alliance will never know. And it's interesting how they built everything up around Luthen. Without Luthen, there is nothing else. And I was okay with that. He's the one that bent people to his will. They talked about that in one of the episodes, how they were used, how they were twisted,
Manipulated.
People did like him passionately, but because of him, they are there. I was all right with that. It was interesting to see how the rebellion began. This wasn't exactly a story about Andor. This is how it all gets going. And I was okay with that. Incremental steps, and it was good. But Clea in this episode, oh my word. Absolutely amazing, phenomenal. Oh, I didn't realize the anger that she had for him. But now seeing it, it was good. I was okay with it. But I appreciated how when she had to pull the plug, she did, and it was something where she teared at the very end. She kissed him on the forehead, but she knew she had to do it. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I wonder what she would have done with Deirdre. I wonder how that one would have ended. But it was absolutely phenomenal. She knew what she had to do, and she went about and did it. So I was impressed. Sorry, guys, that was a long-winded response, but it was a great episode. Who knows? It was great. I enjoyed that episode. On Make It Stop, what were your thoughts on that one alone?
That was 10.
Yeah, episode 10.
That was episode 10.
Yeah, Make It Stop.
I gotta remember what happened. It's the one thing I really dislike about how they're doing it in episodes of like 3 at a time is I gotta remember what happened in which episode.
Well, I'll give you the Disney description. Lonnie Jung taps out, Deidre closes in, Luthen scrambles, and Clea delivers. That's episode Make It Stop. Who else knows? That's episode 11. Cassian returns to Coruscant for one last extraction. And then Jedha, Kyber, and Urso. Cassian returns to Yavin with intel that will change everything. Those are the 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So the one that I'm talking about, quickly, Make It Stop. That's where
is that the one? That's where they did all the backstory of.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just got to set my bearings straight on it. I actually really like that episode. I thought it did a really beautiful job of kind of skipping around the timeline, showing how Luthen and Clea like grew together, but they were never, at least it seemed in Luthen's mind, they were never family, right? Like,
unless it was convenient.
Unless it was convenient, which I think was powerful to just show how jaded he really was. To understand his backstory of how tormented he was in the beginning, I thought was really powerful and gave a lot of context to the struggles that Bix went through earlier on in the season. I thought that connection was well done. And just seeing how he slowly went from disgruntled to truly like furious and angry to then like in control of the beast if you will, I think was really cool too. You know, and then to see him blow up that bridge on Naboo was kind of like the precipice of his anger and the start of what really like that. That's what started the rebellion, right? Was his first act, which I thought was cool.
Yeah. Michael, what stood out other than Clea was the confrontation between Dedra and Luthen. Oh my goodness. What an exchange.
Was that in 10? I thought that was in 11.
No, that was here. That's in 10.
What was it in 10? Oh, I thought that was 11.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
And
it's all mixing together. I understand what Tyler's
It's
talking
kind of
Yeah,
happening.
that's what I'm saying, Michael. Is it all just kind of
about.
blend?
Yeah, I thought that was 11. I was going to wait until. Okay, talking about that, it was like she brought in that little satchel that had the box in it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was like, and his face when he saw what it was, he knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And he had semi-prepared, started to dissolve the communications panel and all that. So yeah, that was very, very intense. And okay, if I go on with that storyline, I think that goes on to 11. But I'm going to do it anyway. I thought it was very interesting. She thought she'd done all the right things, and then she gets arrested.
Yeah.
And that just kind of blew her little world to atoms.
Yeah, she kept going outside of the chain of command from time to time.
Yeah.
Eventually, it pisses someone off to the extreme where that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And
especially when he was he stabbed himself, and he was dying, and I guess they thought, well, if we'd have done it, then if we'd been there, this wouldn't have happened.
And the way it looked, the officer, I think it was Haig, says, "Yeah, you did it on my day off." Of course.
Yeah.
And then Krennic says, "Yeah, and you went to confront Axis on your own. Rebel spy. Come on." So it fit. I was like, "Ooh, that was good." But I did appreciate the give and take between the two,
Mm-hmm.
which is I have dreamt of this so many times. Yeah,
different versions. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, there were so many different versions, and
except the one that happened.
yeah, that's right. So I appreciate how they were. She said, "Is it real? The tension mounts. What if it's not stunning?" You know, the whole exchange that they had.
Mm-hmm.
It was like it was obvious they were already at it, but they were doing it verbally. And she said, "I've dreamt of this," and then they start arguing. Freedom versus chaos. She says, "You want chaos. You don't want freedom. You just want freedom for yourself and chaos for everyone else." And of course, he went for the ritual suicide, which was his only way. And of course, Clea saw it all. Well,
Mm-hmm.
she saw him being taken away, and she decided what she needed to do. Because they figured, or she knew that they would, if Luthen is alive, they'll get it out of him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they'll burn a lot of people. Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I thought one of the most powerful moments, and I didn't realize it until after everything had happened, but how Luthen even presented like that dagger. You know, when she's asking like, "Oh, what are the pieces of you know the antiques you have?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I've got this dagger." Like he was ready to go.
Yeah.
You know, and then he ends up stabbing himself, and you're just like, "Oh, he really had this planned out." Like from before she got there, he knew exactly how it was going to go down and what he was going to do, and he was fully committed to it going that way. Where like he could have put up a fight, you know, and try to find another way and maybe died in a crossfire or something. But no, he just decided like that was going to be his end. And I thought that was a powerful moment.
Yes.
Do you think he chose to answer that door? Or, because that's what I was thinking later. I said, if he knew that she might be coming, why did he go answer the front door?
It's a good question. It's actually a really good question, especially for someone like you have to imagine with someone with the intelligence that he had, like he had to have known.
Yeah, I mean, he already got rid of the guy that told him the information.
Yeah.
You know, he answered because he knew he'd already done what he needed to do. He'd
Yeah.
burned the radio equipment. Well, at least he thought that he had done it. Well, actually, he did.
He did, but it was still functional part of it. So
yeah, so all the files, the records, everything was gone, but it would still work and it would still detect the same signals. Which, yeah, that was bad.
Which it did, and
yeah, I think he knew. He was ready. Yeah, he must have known. I would not have answered the door.
I wouldn't have either. I'd have gone out the back.
Well, yeah, who knows? Actually, I think they did have an escape through the back, but I don't know. They never did actually show it. But yeah, there was a lot that stood out in that episode. It was a tour de force, make it stop. It was really, really good. And I got to tell you, I was engrossed watching the rest of the episodes. Who else know? Do you have any other comments on that episode, gentlemen?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Who else knows? Cassian returns to Coruscant for one last extraction. This is moments after Clay escaped. The INB and the ISB investigators are accessing the security logs. Deidre meets Krennic, and he asks, "Who else knows? Why am I here? Say it. Say it with me. Say the one word. Come on. Don't waste my time." Death Star.
Roger Noriega.
Ah, you're funny. Death Star. Wow. That was a great week. It must have been. Anyway, who else knows? And it was a great confrontation. And I loved at the very end that what he did to her forehead. That was really funny. How he was putting his point through to her. And then she wanted to help him. And he got a hold of her head and said, "I think we're going to do just fine without you. But thanks for playing." And basically just threw her aside. It's like, wow, dude. That was intense. Tyler, Michael, I didn't think she was going to go out that way.
No?
Nope. I thought she was going to get away.
I mean, that would, as you guys know, that was like my hope. So,
Because actually, we were all wrong. You thought she was going to get away, and I thought she was going to get her comeuppance, where she was going to die somehow. But I was wrong. Michael, what did you? Did you even comment on that? Did you?
No. Well, she didn't die, did she? Or did I miss something this episode?
Dude, I got it the minute they showed her from here up, and I saw the orange patch. I was like, "Oh my god!" They sent her to Narkina.
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
Oh yeah, dude! At the very end, you see it on the montage where it's over. She's building pieces for the next Death Star or whatever. Yeah, dude, she got sent to Narkina. Poor thing.
But she's still alive. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I thought you were saying she died, and I go, "Did I miss that?" I said, "Oh."
No.
I feel like for her, death would have been too easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a strange way, there's justice in her having to go build more pieces of the next Death Star.
Yeah.
And well, talking about the Death Star, I figured that it had taken them a long time to get that program going. They said it had been going on for 10 years.
Oh, I loved how Major Partagas and Krennic got at each other. I think it was maybe was it this episode or oh no, it was at the very beginning of episode 12 where it says save the speech for the Emperor, dude. I don't need to hear it because Partagas telling him, dude, I've been covering for you for a long time, dude. It's always next week. Oh, that was cool, dude. I did appreciate that sarcasm of two guys that were pretty high up the food chain. But no matter what, he succeeded because Partagas. dude, this was the Empire Strikes Back all over again. Remember how Vader's just killing guy after guy after guy? It's failure and incompetence. You're done in the Empire. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they don't have a. I mean, besides the fact they don't have like tolerance for failure, they don't have any. They don't have any reason not to kill you and just move on to the next guy.
Yeah.
Right, like everyone is a cog, except for the Emperor. Realistically, like even Vader is just a cog in a machine. He's a useful tool, and that's how Emperor Palpatine looked at him. So it's just like if you're not gonna get the job done right the first time, then I'll move on to the next guy who knows the consequences of failure is death. And if he doesn't get it right, well, then I kill him, move on to the next guy. And there's an endless supply of guys for me to, use and then toss aside. So why not just keep moving on?
Yeah. We saw in the episode on Yavin, Willman and his girlfriend, I forget her name. Woman loses his mind when he says, what do you mean that signal lit up? How long ago? 30 minutes ago. He loses his mind over it. And he interrupts the game of dominoes. We learned that K2SO plays. And apparently he played 863 games against Melshi and Andor. So I thought that was all right. This was a more sophisticated game as opposed to rock, paper, scissors. I thought it was pretty good. I appreciate the conversation between Krennic, Partagas, and Supervisor Hit. Okay, put out a notice every corner of the universe or the galaxy, get it done, and you do not stop till you find her. Okay, but let me be clear. How are we going to charge her? I just Partagas just like, oh my god, dude, she's sick, she's contagious, she's gonna kill thousands. That means everyone will be on the lookout for her. I thought that was really good the way they did that. And then of course they make their way, they get the signal, but they don't respond because they don't know if someone else is listening in. So that was really good. Clea didn't know if if anyone heard her.
Anyone heard her, yeah.
Yeah, that's why she kept doing it. She kept cueing, the intro code, and it was really good. I did appreciate how they showed up, and the whole thing of ISB finding the signal and moving in. I thought that was really good. How they had the primary group and then the backup group. And that was it. And K2SO figured out what was going on. That was cool. That was all right. And, we saw what happened. It ended on a cliffhanger, a genuine cliffhanger. What were your thoughts on this one? Who else knows?
I really loved how KSO just really came in, like, became the hero of the entire thing.
Yeah.
Like not just some like useless droid that often in Star Wars, droids are kind of comic relief, but like, no, he literally is the reason the entire thing succeeded. Like even more important, I would say, that Andor in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt he was smarter than a lot of the other droids. I mean, he could reason. He was reasoning things out. Oh, my communication isn't working now. Why could that possibly be? They can't hear me. Something may be going wrong. And then he left the ship.
Yeah. Now, I did appreciate, and I didn't comment about this, when they showed up at the door at the safe house, and when the door opens up, Clea says, of all people, it had to be you. I was like, ooh. That was a slap in the face because Melshi doesn't know what was being said between the two. And Andor didn't answer back. He's like, we got to go.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to go. She did not want to go. And I didn't understand that. She had to have known that she was going to get burned no matter what. But I guess she wanted to remain on Coruscant for whatever reason. But that moment did stand out. But I did appreciate how they got there. It ended up and then we moved into Jeddah, Kyber, and Urso.
Before we move on to the last episode, one thing tell me if you guys noticed this when they were doing like kind of the overhead panning on Coruscant. Did you guys notice how there were no other like ships in the sky?
Yes.
Because that drove me a little bit nuts. I was so in. I thought these last 3 episodes had the most beautiful set design, except for that one thing. Where I'm like, this is a planet it's like the most populated planet in the universe. And, it's New York City, but the entire planet, and there were no like cars on the road, basically. I thought that was weird. Kind of took me out of it for a second. I don't know if you guys were as bothered by that as I was, but
well, it didn't bother me, but I didn't really realize it until you said that, and I go, "Ooh, he's right."
I actually did catch that there, especially when they were starting to fly out. You see the airways or the byways, whatever. There are a lot of vehicles in the distance. So when I didn't see vehicles right there, I got the impression that they were on level whatever it was, 5,000 to level 5124. I thought that was deep. I mean, it's like the slums of Coruscant. And probably a lot of people didn't own vehicles. So it did cross my mind briefly, but it didn't take me out of it.
Okay.
Only because I did see 1 or 2 scenes where there were the ships in the background.
I was thinking back to like episode 2, right?
Yeah.
Where we see even then when Obi-Wan goes into like the bar and stuff, like that's the slum area. That's kind of the underworld seedy part of Coruscant. Even then it was crazy busy. They're literally jumping from ship to ship in the middle of the night and all that stuff. We've seen it in Clone Wars in I think episode or season 7 or 8. Like kind of it's the planet that never sleeps. And so that was why I'm pretty lore heavy compared to you guys though. So like that maybe that's why. But I thought it was interesting. I was just like, oh, that's the one thing that kind of I would have seen like a million little space convertibles running around.
It's funny. Or maybe a million Ford trucks, right? I want to give a quick shout out to Sonia. Thank you for the like. We do appreciate it. Folks, we know several people are watching the program, so if you want to go ahead and comment right now, we are reviewing the finale, the last 3 episodes of Star Wars Andor, and maybe even we'll talk about the series as a whole. But fire off your comments in the chat room. We'd love to read them, and we read them on air. So fair enough. We'll head on over. If you guys have nothing else, we'll head on to the final episode, Jeddah, Kyber, and Urso. All right. On this one, this was a tall order that you had to resolve everything. And I did appreciate the montage at the very end on how you were able to see how it happened. And there was a bit of sadness. I don't think anyone, I mean, our guys, are we dumb? Should have seen it. Of course, that's why she left, because she was expecting. Did any of you choose that one that she was expecting?
No.
I think we're just blind to that, guys. Sometimes we just don't think of that.
Well, we might have been blind like Andor was too. So, but we were looking at through his eyes. So
that kind of made me dislike her a little bit.
Yes.
To be honest, I mean, I don't know if to me that was like the most selfish thing she could have done. Like I understand why she would have a lot of fear, but like abandoning Cassian, not telling him that he has a child, and running away, leaving a note. Like, I kind of don't like you anymore, and I liked you a lot. So
maybe she was doing that because she knew that he had a destiny and she didn't want to mess it up. I don't know.
Maybe, but I think about like what, at least my own experience, like what motivates me to get up and, work as hard as I do in life. And often it's because I have children, right? Like it's because I have something additional to fight for that it keeps me grounded and keeps me motivated, and I feel like pushes me to go beyond what I would normally be capable of if I was left to my own devices. And I feel like if Cassian had known that he had a child, his spark to um, fight the Empire probably would have burned a little bit brighter. You know, he would have really wanted to end it, or he would have wanted to really run away, which is what Big
Yeah.
anyway.
Well,
So
also, wasn't Bix the one that heard the lady that was telling basically his future? Wasn't she? Wasn't she the one that? So she might have heard that, and then she says, "I can't, I can't do this to him because he's got a destiny that he's, you know."
That's interesting, Michael, because
Because we did see her later.
Well, in the episode, Andor says, "Why are you doing this? Let it go." And she wouldn't let it go. And it was the Force seer, I guess she was.
Yeah.
She saw him as some sort of messenger, I suppose.
Mm. Yeah. And look what message he brought.
Yep. Yeah. I did appreciate in this episode the firefight that happened, and then K2SO, as we mentioned, saved the day, and it was really well done. Whoever, I didn't even think the Empire would have a flashbang grenade, but they did. So I was like, okay. Now there was a first contact moment. I know, Tyler, I'm probably going to lose you, but when they were about to engage the Imperial officers, there was a sound that it made that it reminded me of Star Trek First Contact when the phaser rifles were activated, and then they turned on the lights. I'm like, come on, man. It was a little bit like, oh, gentlemen, oh my God, please tell me you caught it. Going back to episode 10 at the very beginning, the beeping sound. You didn't recognize that from anything?
What did I miss? No.
Go back and listen to the very beginning of episode 10 where it's a little beeping sound. It was the same sound that plays on the trackers in Aliens. Oh. It was the exact same sound.
I wouldn't have noticed that. So.
I mean, I started hearing the sound. I'm like, whoa. Is Hudson going to yell out, hey, what's the position? They're all around us. I swear I thought it was a perfect spitting, not image, but it was a sound. But anyway, I'm sorry. I went too far back. I did appreciate the entire way it happened. And I love it how K2SO asked him, hey, did I do K2SO? Hey, did I did good? Do you trust me now? Whatever. And he's
take a hard ride.
Bored. And in my notes is K2SO is unappreciated because I think he says, you're welcome. Because I forget exactly what it was. And then shortly thereafter, Saul lectures the rebellion. We see the U-Wing is on approach because of no communication. They land, blasters are at the ready, and apparently they have news. And, I didn't like the rebel leadership. Now looking back at Rogue One and these guys, they're a bunch of pansies, man. They're cowards. They really are. And it left a bad taste in my mouth. But jumping way ahead, I did appreciate the conversation between Andor and Vel. She says straight out, Mon wants to know the truth. And he said, yeah. I think he says, Mom wants to know if your Luthen story is real. He died for it. That's how real it was. He died for it. And does it matter how he used us, twisted it? None of this exists without him. Clea wouldn't lie about it. And at that moment, even Val, who said, oh, I'll have a drink. She didn't want more, and then she said, I'll have another. So she's continuing. And then they mention all those that had been lost that they all knew. I thought it was wonderful. And I wrote it down word for word. The voiceover of Nemec comes back. There will be times when the struggle seems impossible. I know this already. Alone, unsure, dwarfed by the scale of the enemy. Remember this: freedom is a pure idea. It occurs spontaneously without instruction. Random acts of insurrection are occurring constantly throughout the galaxy. There are whole armies, battalions that have no idea that they've already enlisted in the cause. Remember that the frontier of the rebellion is everywhere, and even the smallest act of insurrection pushes our lines forward. Remember this: imperial need for control is so desperate, it is because it is so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. It breaks, it leaks. Authority is brittle. Oppression is the mask of fear. And then we hear Partagrass hit stop. He was listening to that. And he asks his underling, "You heard it? Bits and pieces." He blew it off. He's a believer. There's more to Partagrass. And there was a moment when Partagrass knew he had lost. I think it was when they were trying to reach for help and he made the face like, "Yep, it's over. Yeah, it's done." When they lost communication and all that. But hearing Nemec read this again, the voiceover, this is what the rebellion is. And it was a character that no one knows, but just a handful of people. And his manifesto is now known throughout the galaxy. And no one really knows who he was.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there was more to Partagrass than we care to admit. There are shades of gray to that guy. He's very smart, but even he lost. Because it's at that moment where his underling says, "They're waiting for you outside, sir. Would you give me a moment?" His underling knows exactly what's going to happen. He does, because he walks out and he's just waiting there. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but when the blaster went off, the stormtroopers flinched.
Yeah, they flinched. Yeah,
That was really good. They flinched. And he's like,
and he didn't flinch at all.
"No, he did not."
Mm-mm.
That was interesting. That was cool.
Hey guys, I hate to cut us short. My wife just texted me that she needs backup with our kids, so I'm gonna have to sign off here for the night, I guess. So I apologize in advance. I'm so
Not
sorry.
at all. Tyler,
Now, we're pretty
you're-
much almost done anyway.
you take care of what you want to do. If you want to say anything right now, go for it. Otherwise, we'll see you, buddy.
I love Star Wars. I can't wait to do this again. I'm sorry that I have children.
No, you're
Thanks,
not
Tyler.
sorry. You love your children.
I'm not,
Right,
but
right.
I'm sorry they're screaming at the top of their lungs right now. I will talk to you guys really soon, okay?
Okay,
All right,
take it
thanks,
easy,
buddy.
Tyler.
We'll see you.
Hey, bless, guys.
We'll see you. Michael?
I'm pretty much said everything. I mean, it was a great ending to the series. As I said, I'm going to be looking at Rogue One again, just to see if I even get more out of Rogue One, knowing these backstories now. So
I am hoping that they're done with the Rogue One storyline now. And it was well done. They delivered. After the first 3 episodes, we were really anxious. It did not look good.
mhm.
But I understand, Michael, you said somewhere around episodes 4, 5, and 6 that you saw quite a bit of nuance now, that you wanted to go back and look at 1, 2, and 3, and maybe you had a different opinion. I don't know if your opinion did change. I stand by. I was genuinely disappointed with the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, and I think people, I think they actually knew that, and it makes me wonder if that's why they decided to do 4 weeks, 3 episodes a week, to get the first 3 out of the way fast.
Mhm.
I don't know.
That's interesting. I don't know. Episodes 10, 11, and 12 and Rogue One all happen within days of each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we see now. And if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, tough. You guys should know we're reviewing the program. It is what it is. So I just want to go ahead, since this is the final episode. Diego Luna, Andor, Genevieve O'Reilly, Mon Mothma, Denise Gao played Deidre Muro. Adria Ariona played Bix Kayleen. Alan Tudyk came back, K2SO. Benjamin Bratt, Bail Organa, because obviously the original character was unavailable. What are you going to do? It's done. Faye Massey, Val Sartha, Elizabeth Dulau, Clayla Marquis, Alistair McKenzie, Perrin Furtha. I didn't know that was his last name, Furtha. I thought it would be Mothma, but I guess not. But that's a Western man thinking. Mahanid Bahir was Wilman. Anton Lesser, Major Partagaz. Duncan Poe was Melshi. Alistair Petrie was General Davitz Draven. Jacob James Beswick was Supervisor Hirt. Ben Mendelsohn was, of course, Krennic. Forrest Whitaker, Saul Guerrera. And, of course, we had Karis Nemec, Alex Lothar, who I don't know if he reread it or if it was just a recording of, or they were just playing back what they had in episode 6 when he reads the manifesto out loud. It was a wonderful ride. I wish there would have been more to it, but it's done. It's over. Disney put the right people in charge, and it's all about telling the story, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it's about. It's putting real people in real Star Wars, real situations. Good stories create great characters. And you have them, Genevieve O'Reilly, Val. Oh my goodness. And of course, Clea. Episode 10. Wow. Yep. It was all Clea. I'm sorry that Luthen had to go, and he went, and it was done. Yeah. Anything else? Overall, Michael, the entire series as a whole, or season 2.
No, I just do. I mean, I enjoyed the whole thing. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad we got to see more in depth of some of the characters from the original series and Rogue One. I mean, it was very good. It was very good.
Yeah, I'm happy for the way it went. I'm eternally.
But I was hoping, like Tyler, that we would bring in some other people on these last episodes, but some of them were brought in Rogue One. I mean, yeah, so not guess they couldn't do it all. So
yeah. Well, folks, that's going to be it for us then. I do want to thank everyone who's joined us on the ride. We didn't actually review Rogue One. Maybe we will in a few months. We'll get the three of us together. And then since we've done season, was Tyler here for season 1? No.
Part of it. No, he wasn't involved.
No, he was here for season 2, but he's been here for quite a bit of other stuff. So it's been a ride, Disney. I want to thank you for doing what we know you can do. It's tell good stories. Keep us entertained. And to steal a line from Tyler, you subverted my expectations. So I was really happy. That was good. All right, Michael, do you have any announcements?
Well, there's a couple of look at ndbmedia.net on the main page. There's some guests we're having this next week, and hopefully, you can tune in. We got 2 on Monday, possibly one on Tuesday and one on Wednesday.
All right, Monday Night America will be on tomorrow, folks, and that is the 19th. Actually, tomorrow, Chance McCoy, is he going to be on?
Yep.
And that one is at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Oh,
No. That's yeah. He's going to be on. That's in the morning. Yeah, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon on the East Coast
and then we have Michael Joseph Pierce.
on Monday
Will
Night
be
in
on
America.
Monday Night America, 7 p.m. Pacific time, folks. Folks, we ask you to bear with us. It looks like there's going to be a change to Monday Night America, as I informed everyone at the latter part of the year in 2024 that I was moving back to a later hour of 8 o'clock, only because of my scheduling and things that I had to do. Well, that went for 5 months. So it's probably going to be going back to 6 p.m., and it's more than likely going to be effective as early as next week. So I just want to keep that in mind. Monday Night America will be returning to 6 p.m. I'm thinking about the summer schedule. It's going to be brutal, but we're going to stick with 6 p.m. for the time being, and we'll see what happens moving forward. But stay up on ndbmedia.net. There are some announcements. There may be some changes to what's on the calendar for the 20th and the 22nd. Just keep that in mind. That's why we did not officially announce it right now. Calendar just needs to be updated, but that's pretty much going to be it. All right, folks. And there are others that have committed to being on. We just haven't been
They're
able to
too busy.
Yeah. But the guest and the agent said they want to be on. And when you get both of them saying they want to be on, we can go ahead and say that they have committed, but we just don't have an actual date at the moment. So if there is anyone that we have interviewed in the past and you would like to return, let us know. Drop us a line. Michael and I had a chance to discuss that. Some of our favorites we're going to be asking, but beyond that, we have no confirmation, nothing. We were going down the line and seen some that had been on. One a year ago, others actually 2 years ago now. It's crazy how quickly it's moving. But Michael, we do have on calendar, right? Strange New Worlds season 3.
Yes.
So it was announced a day or two ago that Strange New Worlds will be returning. It debuts on, I believe it's July 17th, a Thursday. And
with 2 episodes. And we will be on Saturday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Yep. But
unless something changes.
Yes, but that's because we are accommodating. It's kind of cool for Star Wars. We have Tyler and Luca that join us. And for Star Trek, we have others that join us, which is kind of interesting because of the time frames involved. So we're looking forward to that. So don't forget, the Troublesome Twosome is on every other Sunday, so you can find them. I believe they're going to be on next week. Monday Night America, I'm going to have to change the schedule. Right now, it still says 7 p.m. Pacific time, but it's more than likely going to change again. Sci-Fi Vision, Fandom Access is on Tuesdays. And Michael, you're going to be doing something starting in June, correct?
Yes, I put it on the calendar just to hold it for now. I'm hoping it's really going to happen. So
actually, no, it's going to start later this month.
Later this month, yeah.
The Librarians, right?
Librarians, the next chapter.
On Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like it.
So we will see. I'm looking for hosts right now, so for the review show.
There you go. You guys want to join the Empire? That's how you start.
That's how you start.
Yes. We don't always put calls out, but when we do, that's the time to answer them. So, all right, fair enough. Of course, Sports Talk with the Guys is on Saturdays, and yeah. at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Pacific Time. So I believe the Troublesome Twosome will. Oh, they were on this
They
morning.
were on. They were on today. Yeah.
Ooh, I knew that. Okay. So we have to remove the Star Wars Andor for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can go ahead and get rid of that. All right. Other than that, folks, if you have any other comments when you watch this after the fact, go ahead and leave a comment in the chat room, and we'll read it later on. But for Star Wars, it looks like this might be it for a little bit. We have Star Trek coming up in, what we say, July, right?
I believe. Yeah.
Wow.
I get them all mixed up, so I just gotta wait.
Yeah, July 19th, Strange New Worlds. It'll run for 9 weeks.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Okay. I guess that'll be it. Michael, thank you. Tyler, I know you had to go. Thanks, buddy. But I guess that's going to be it for now then, right?
That's it for now.
All right, buddy. So, on behalf of everyone here at NDB Media, that's Michael. I'm Roger. If you didn't know that, I'm sorry. That's your fault. And check out what's going on the network. There's a lot of stuff, folks. I'll be on tomorrow. Michael will be on tomorrow at noon Eastern, and I'll be on at 10 p.m. Eastern. So, all right, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys on the other side. Peace always.